Hey Ken and Tiffany, it's Max. I wanted to go over the market analysis that I did for the property on Nob Hill. So I um, did a search and I pulled up active, under contract, and sold in the general vicinity of Deerfield. And let's see, I came up with 12 houses. Now, because of the lack of inventory, I went back a little bit further than normal. Normally, the most accepted time frame for appraisers and such is about 90 days, but I went 3 months. So I went back 6 months, 180 days, just so that I could pull up some more relevant comparable sales. So out of the 12, there are two active. One of them is that Nob Hill property, and one of them is another two-story in Deerfield. There's one that's currently under contract and hasn't closed, and it's right there on Nob Hill. And then that leaves 9 others that in the last 6 months have sold in Deerfield. So let's take a look. So what I did is I took that information and I put it into my own spreadsheets. And so this upper spreadsheet, it used to say active there. I don't know what happened to that label, but there's only one active property. And so this is the information on that active property. It's currently one active other than Nob Hill, sorry. Uh, Here's that active property. The square footage, it's smaller than Nob Hill. The total square feet is smaller than Nob Hill by almost 800 square feet. The basement is significantly smaller because this is a full basement on a big ranch. The price per square foot is a little bit less than Nob Hill. The price per square foot of the finished space is significantly more. It's about $140 a square foot for total finished square footage price versus 175, and the lot is significant. No, the lots are comparable in size. They're both really big. The days on the market, that one's been 214 days on the market. Nob Hill has been on the market for 8 days. We can't really use active sales for comparing, and especially since there's only one other active in the neighborhood, one isn't a good sample set. Um, Looking at the under contracts, again, we only have one property to compare it to. And so here's the stats on that property. It's on Nob Hill that's under contract. And here's the property on Nob Hill that we're looking at. And that one's significantly less expensive by about $60,000. Now, it's under contract. We don't know what what it went under contract for, but because it was on the market for 259 days, I would I would venture to guess that it is less. The contract price is less than what they were asking. Okay, Nob Hill is currently listed for 650. So the above ground price per square foot right in here is what we're going to end up using. And right now, the other one on Nob Hill is 209. We'll have to look at, right now I'm just looking at the structure of the house. I'm not giving it any credit for whether it's a mess or whether it's, bells and whistles. I'm just looking at the physical, structural characteristics of the properties, and then we'll look a little bit more at what they have to offer above and beyond just their size. Right now, Nob Hill is being offered at 250,000, or sorry, $250 per square foot. So here's the real meat and potatoes numbers. If we look at the solds are real numbers that actually sold. And so we can use those. Those are the numbers that appraisers use. Those are the numbers that we're going to use to try to establish the value of what's going on that Nob Hill property. So now we have a pretty decent sample of uh, 9 properties. And so if we compare Nob Hill, here's the information of Nob Hill. If we compare that to these others, on average, they have 4 bedrooms, same as Nob Hill, 4 bathrooms, same as Nob Hill. Uh, the above ground square footage is significantly more. But the thing is that all of these are 2-story properties. Nob Hill is the only one that's a ranch. So that a ranch is always going to be higher price per square foot than a 2-story, just because of the cost of construction. The finished square feet, as far as the final finish, up and down, Nob Hill is about 600 square feet more than the average of those 9. The total square footage, they're right there together. They're within 100 square feet, 150 square feet of each other. So that's they're the same. The basement of the ranch is always going to be slightly larger than a 2-story for the most part of a comparable size home. And the average sale price on those 9 was $670,000. Nob Hill is listed for $650,000. And again, ranches, for the most part, are more expensive as far as when they're comparable in size, which this one is. When we look at the above grade and the total square footage, they're very comparable in size. The price per square foot above grade. Here's where, it's just the nature of the beast. The cost of a 2-story is always going to be less than the cost of a ranch. So it's at $250 a square foot versus the average one here was $206 a square foot above grade. Finished, this is going to be much less expensive. That's what we're seeing. The lot size, amazingly enough, the lots on average are a little bit bigger than the one on Nob Hill, but it's only a little bit bigger. Pretty darn close. The average house out of the 9 is built in 1993. The average days on the market is 90, but there's some real anomalies there. There's this one that maybe didn't even get on the market. They might have sold it to a friend or family member, kind of an inside sale. 0 days on the market. This one's over a year on the market. So I didn't throw out any of those anomalies. I just left them in there. And so on average, it's 90 days. Nob Hill is 8 days on the market. If we look at the low end of the days on the market, we got the 0, which is an inside job, is what I would call it. And then we have this other one that's 5 days on the market. Everything else has been longer on the market than the 8 days of Nob Hill. So if we go back to MetroList and look at the search of the 12 properties that I pulled up, you can see there's not going to be a whole lot of bad locations in Deerfield. It's just the nature of the neighborhood. Maybe some bad locations would be close to Highway 86, but even those, if I zoom in, these properties have enough distance where you're not getting road noise from Highway 86. These are 5-acre lots, so there's some pretty good distance there. So I would say that for the most part, if I'm looking at these lots right here, I'd say, this one right here might be a lesser lot just because it doesn't have the trees. It doesn't have as many trees, just kind of back on this corner of the lot. This is very treed. That one, these are very treed. And if I zoom out, this lot over here is going to be a lesser lot. and it's priced at, it's sold. Well, no, that one is active. That's the active at $660,000. So maybe that's playing into it not uh, being on the market. Look at that. If I zoom in, there's hardly a tree on the property. So if you're in Deerfield, that's not going to be as desirable. Again, I'm going to go back down in here. And so when we look at these on the Nob Hill, you know, lots of trees, lots of trees, lots of trees over here. So there's a couple properties. I guess that's the only drawback to some properties in Deerfield is the amount of vegetation. Now, as I'm looking through the set of houses that I have, I see this one at sold at 9.25. I probably should have pulled that one out, but I didn't. So I'm leaving it in there because I've made all my calculations, and it's including that one. So the average sale price would come down a little bit if I pulled out that, let's call it an anomaly there. So I'm going to go through a couple of these. I'm not going to go through all of them. I sent you the details on these properties, and you can look through them yourself instead of listening to me yak. But I want to look at some of the solds that were comparable in price. And so like this one on Nob Hill, let's take a look at that and see what it looks like on the inside as far as the quality of the fix. It's got that barn kind of roof, and look at the picture. That cracks me up. You know, that's the one thing I hire professional people to take pictures, and the prominent dead stuff right in the front. I mean, you really couldn't have stepped to the side a little bit. I don't know. But anyway, it has kind of that barn look. A lot of people don't really go for that as much. You know, it has all those dormers sticking out. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. Well, it has a really nice oversized three-car garage. It's pretty. We'll have to read about it, but you know, you got a big divider there, about 4 feet maybe, and it looks a little bit deep. And then it has maybe a shop above. I don't know, but standing up on the hill, you got some pretty great views out there. Uh, that's definitely looking barn-like. Nice views from the deck. We'll have to see where that deck is. I think it's above the garage. Um, Kind of the same thing, you know, dusty floors, but maybe a little bit dated on the cosmetics. This is the basement. They got a big bar back in there, and then you got the walkout feature. So you got a walkout basement, just like Nob Hill, but it looks like you walk out. Uh, you're on top of the hill instead of in the bowl of the hills there. Got hardwood floors throughout. These look like it's painted. You know, that's that slate blue, but it looks like you got the natural wood for the trim and the doors for the most part. Kind of some honey oak looking stuff. You know, it's just whatever your preference is. It looks like there's granite here, but I'm not thinking that's granite right there. But you have some new appliances, so it's a nicely updated kitchen. And compared to the one on Nob Hill, I think it looks a lot larger, but it's kind of tucked away. It looks like it's its own little section of the house. Don't know. I'm guessing this is the basement. Master bath. Looks like it's pretty nice. You know, it has the bar lights up there that are kind of old school, but it looks fairly nice. It's got carpet everywhere. So my guess is this is that bonus room, and so there's the deck. I'll have to go back outside and look again, but you know, This might be coming up from the garage. This might be the area above the garage. Looks like a Jack and Jill bath. That's kind of odd. Could you imagine two kids using the bathroom at the same time, butt to butt at the sink? I don't know about your kids. Pretty plain Jane laundry. Look at the dirt, the lint hanging out of the dryer vent, and I don't know. It's not detailed. Great. So yeah, so that's it. Above the garage is that deck, and there's that place with the stairs that were coming out of the middle of the floor. Looks like they might have an awning that pulls out over that. And so that was that big bonus room or whatever you want to call it. It might have even had a bathroom up there. And then there's the deck looking out, and it looks out to the west over a bunch of trees. So anyway, that's that property. Let's look there. Let's look at one more, just for kicks. I was just looking at that was the one for that sold for $625, and then let's look at this other one that's actively on the market, the other active, and see why it's been languishing for almost a year. See what the heck is going on there. This is the one that doesn't have trees for the most part. And it just has those cottonwoods and a lot of grass. So, maintenance, that's not the best thing. It's got a big old truck and a lawnmower in front of the. Professional photographers are great. I don't think this is one of them. It's got a cement tile roof. I'm looking at the size of that truck, and it looks like it takes more than half of the main door, and I question whether it's going to fit in the small door. So this is kind of a neat area. Look, it's got glass walls, big sunroom, and then it looks like it has patios on all sides. I can see some lawn furniture on the patio furniture on the other side. So, it's nice. It's beautiful. You got a nice view, but you do have some acres, it looks like, of lawn to maintain. It's a fairway. Some sprinkler systems if in the front. What a random picture. Yeah. So you're looking at other people's trees, it looks like to me. So this is that sunroom. Pretty neat space. Could get pretty toasty, I would guess. But again, it's got cement tile roof even on that structure. Pretty orange. Uh, Floors and doors. Pretty small kitchen. Look at that one. That one, Tiffany, I believe that one is maybe smaller than the one at Nob Hill. This is with a tricky camera too. Look how wide this countertop looks compared to the stove down there. So it's a little, and look how distorted and stretched the refrigerator is. So, even though it looks a little bit bigger, I don't think it is. Wow, really poor photography. That's that room, that sunroom. Pretty neat space if you can keep it cool. High ceilings, very similar to that Nob Hill property. Horrible photography. That might help it sell. Get some decent pictures of. And then I'm looking at look at how dinged up the doors are. So it looks like, it has some issues above and beyond just the trees. Look, that's just a crazy picture. Wow. If I was selling a $600,000 house, I'd want some good photographs. I'm surprised the realtor isn't in the mirror. Look at that one. You got a bathroom, shower. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right, so that's the one that's been languishing on the market for quite a while. So anyway, I'm not going to take any more time to go over any of that stuff, but let's look. Let's go back and look at my spreadsheets. In here, it's a good place if you want to pause the video and spend some time looking over this. The real challenge here is comparing two-story houses to a ranch style. All of the 9 are two-story houses. This is the only ranch. They're listing it as a ranch because there's really nothing of significance. It's just that loft that's upstairs, just a bonus space, whatever. This one doesn't have a basement, the Gray Squirrel Way. The 1 bedroom, 1 bath is, oh my gosh, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. I don't get it. Sorry, after I saw 1 bedroom, 1 bath, I decided I got to go look at this Gray Squirrel Way and see what in the heck is going on there. So let's just quickly scan through. It looks like it's a really heavily wooded and it's got a huge garage. I'm thinking that's just the garage only, unless. So this is the living space above the garage. Is that the house? The first picture, so maybe that's the house. And it looks like it's all vaulted and it's above the garage. You got to come up some stairs. So it almost looks like it's a mother-in-law apartment above the garage, and they thought we're going to build this huge house. We're going to start with a garage with a mother-in-law and eventually build a big house, because I can't see that living above the garage would be your first plan. A galley kitchen, the master bedroom and office. So that's what that looks like to me. Maybe it's just an incredible lot. It looks like it could be a very nice lot. And then they just built this thinking that was going to be the plan. A lot, not a lot of pictures, but it sold, and it sold for $600. Anyway, that's my analysis. Because it's been on the market for 8 days, it's not going to probably have a lot of wiggle room beyond the current asking price. Go ahead and look through the information. If you have any questions, give me a call.